And this morning we want to talk about keeping your information secure online. It seems like everything we do is linked to the internet, how we pay our bills, communicate with others, and even get information on our health. But just this week, we got word of two massive data breaches, and we'll start here locally with McLaren Health. They say hackers stole the personal information of nearly 750,000 people in a ransomware attack, and that includes social security numbers, health insurance information, driver's license details, and medical data. It happened between July and August of 2024 and impacts McLaren patients and patients at Carmano Center, the Cancer Institute. They're asking people to keep an eye on their accounts for any odd activity. Also this week, insurance company Aflac announced a data breach involving customer information. Aflac says a cybercrime group gained access to its network. Health information, again, social security numbers, and more may have been accessed. Aflac says the review is in the early stages, and they're trying to figure out just how many people are impacted. And joining us now to talk more about the best ways to protect yourself is Matt Loria, the CEO of Axiom, an IT and cybersecurity company. Matt, we were just talking a few days ago. Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, good morning. It sure seems to be a repeated issue that we're all dealing with.
Yeah, these ones seem particularly concerning, especially when you consider social security numbers, health information getting out there. What was your first thought when you heard about these two massive breaches?
You know, these two are a little bit more common in comparison to the last one that we talked about, but still very concerning. I mean, this is people's personal information out there, their medical information, all sorts of identifying factors that could be used, you know, in other nefarious ways. So whether that's opening up a credit card or filing a tax return on a person's behalf fraudulently, you know, all this sort of information can just be used in so many terrible ways.
You know, at this point, I feel like a lot of people, their eyes just kind of glaze over when they hear about another data breach. What is at stake here when it comes to what we can do to try to even protect ourselves? You trust these companies, and then your information is out there.
Yeah, sure. I mean, you're not going to stop going to the hospital or
Right.
not stop getting insurance. So you have to use these companies, and you have to trust that they're doing something. You know, unfortunately, in the United States, our laws just aren't as tough as they are in Europe as it relates to privacy protection. So while they're doing a great job, you know, for our country or in our country, they're still not doing as good of a job as that they could be doing,
Right.
you know, compared to how the rest of the world handles this.
So what can we do? What can the regular person do? I mean, as you mentioned, you still have to go to the doctor, or you still need to get a checkup. What do you do in that case? You have to hand over your info.
Sure. Yeah, there's no question that you have to give that information up. But what you can do is some things behind the scenes. You certainly can have your credit frozen, which you can contact all the credit reporting agencies and request that. And that's one of the best ways to stop new accounts being opened up in your name. And so, you know, I would highly recommend that. Would you like me to kind of go through my top 5 list that I like to give everybody?
I do want to hold on to that list because we're going to continue this conversation after the break. We also want to talk about that massive password breach that affected Apple and Facebook and Google. So we have a lot of information to get to, but this is sort of the tip of the iceberg. I think the number one takeaway here is maybe, you know, freeze some of your accounts so that hackers can't access them once they've already have information like your social security number. Matt, we're going to check in with you in just a moment. We'll be right back after the break. Well, we are back now with Matt Loria, the CEO of Axiom, an IT and cybersecurity company. Matt, you were talking about some of your top 5 tips. Why don't we go through that list when it comes to protecting yourself?
Sure. Well, I kind of gave you a teaser before the break there, but freezing your credit report is certainly one of the top things that you can do because it stops new accounts from being opened in your name without you getting contacted separately. Number 2 is to use strong passwords, and what I mean by that is not just a strong password, meaning that it's long and complicated, but that you also cannot reuse the same password anywhere, please. That is one of the major ways that these bad guys take advantage of you, especially when they're able to steal a password or crack a password on one account. They know human behavior. They know that you're going to use that same password elsewhere. So your dog's name 123, I promise, is not as safe as you think.
How about dog's name 456? No, I'm kidding.
You could probably try that. You'll probably really trick them with that one.
Okay, so those are the top two. What else do you recommend?
Well, and within that top two, I would say we're also using multi-factor authentication. So
Right, yeah.
that's that annoying thing where they ask you to give you your cell phone number or just send you a text or use a separate application to enter information separately that they then text you. So that's something you have, which is a password, or something you know, which is your password, and something you have or get, which is that second factor authenticator. That is one of the best ways to prevent cybercrime. Unfortunately, the bad guys still know ways around that too, but you have to use it. Number three is all of these breaches. One of the rules that the government has in place when these breaches happen is that the company who has been breached has to supply identity monitoring services for the parties that have been affected. And so definitely sign up for that. Especially if you've been a part of one of the breaches. That is definitely one of the most overlooked things that people get in the mail is they get this letter, whether it's from Aflac or from McLaren or whoever, and they ignore it. Enroll in that. That definitely helps. And what you can also do is keep an eye on the fact that you may have discounted offerings for that as well. Like I know our benefits plan offers a discount to a system called LifeLock. So I enroll in that, and all of my family members are a part of that account. And anytime anything happens, whether you're cashing a check or anything that just looks like it could be a flag, I get an alert on my LifeLock email and through the app push that says, "Is this really you?" And so it's a really cool system that does work and can at least stop the spread of something happening. So even though the bad guy might get through it, but you get alerted, then you can do something about it. And you can contact the different ways to deal with that. Number four is keep your software updated and your data backed up. So again, I know these things are annoying, right? When the Windows alert pops up and says, "Hey,"
and it always comes at the worst time. You're just like, oh, I have to update it now.
For sure. And yes, you do, unfortunately, because that's where the security updates are really housed. And so bad guy is learning something, so they're finding a little hole. Good guy, maybe Microsoft says, okay, we're going to patch that hole. And you just have to be up to date on it because they also know they thrive on the fact that not everyone is going to do that update, which means there's a hole in the system. So do that if you can afford to and utilize a backup system like a Carbonite or some other backup system for just individuals. That would be highly recommended. For businesses, we have all sorts of systems that we use that are highly tuned for that, but I know that the consumer is not always thinking about that. So iCloud backup, Carbonite, any sorts of backups that you can be using just in case these guys get you.
Well, and there's one more. We're running out of time here. So what's the last one real quick?
Yep, I'll go really quick. Yep, number 5 is just be smart about what you click. Most of these hacks, they start with somebody just getting tricked. So think before you're clicking, think before you're sharing, think before you're answering a question from somebody that you don't know.
Well, great information there. Thanks, Matt. Lots to unpack, and hopefully we can do a little bit more to protect ourselves and companies as well. All right. Thank you so much.